Hello and welcome. My name is Brent, and today I'm going to walk you through a document's journey from creation to submission using the DocsCorp suite of products. I will start with the creation of documents from templates and content blocks, then walk through the collaboration process, and finally, I will publish our document, prepare it for court submission. Along the way, I will also show you how DocsCorp's products can help to ensure the security of that document. Let's go ahead and start here in Microsoft Word. We're going to take a look first at our Redaction product. So we can see here at the very beginning, I have no document loaded, and I have a ribbon here at the top. Now this is a Redaction ribbon. It's customized for your firm or your company, including the name and the layout and the buttons that are on that. Now this one here has some options from Redaction and Word, but again, it's fully customizable. Now we're going to walk through two different types of document creation. We're going to take a look at creating a document with a template, and then we'll look at creating a blank document using content blocks. I'll then take that second document throughout the rest of the document journey. So let's start with creating a document from a template. Now, with the deployment of a Redaction solution, you also deploy a series or a group of templates. And here we have a drop down that shows a few templates that have been loaded here. We also can put some favorites up here along the in the new document group on the ribbon. So first thing I want to do is generate a letter. So when I click on this, we're going to see that template load there in the background, but what we're going to see is we're presented with a Redaction form filler. Now these are fully customizable based upon the template, and as we enter information into these, they can become dynamic. So if we answer certain questions, it could be prompted for more information. So in this one, we're creating a basic letter. And the first thing we're going to take a look at is our author details, right? So we're, maybe it's going to be me, or maybe I'm authoring this for somebody else. So I have the ability to choose that. If I have information on client ID and matter ID, I can go ahead and enter that now. When connecting with a CRM, we can actually filter our contacts using the client or matter ID. Speaking of contacts, what we have here is the ability to choose from a CRM or a contacts list. We can see we've got some information here. I can also choose from my Outlook address book. So choose Outlook here, and of course I can choose any of those. And then of course we can manually enter our recipient. But in this instance, I'm going to choose Kevin here from my CRM. You can see that it populates his name and address, and even a salutation that's been included. In the next screen here, again, I'm going to have some reference information. Maybe I'll give this a subject. We'll call this demo doc. And we'll mark it, say, private confidential, and I'm going to send it by email, which we can see now from that contact information, we have pulled in the email address. We can tie this also to a document management system if we want to pull in some additional references or matter IDs and that sort of thing from that document management system. We could do that. So I click finish here, and what we're going to see is that that letter is then populated with all that information that was there. And of course, if I wanted to correct a mistake, I can always come back in and re-edit. Maybe it's now actually not supposed to be from Scott, but it's supposed to be from Robert. So as we see that we can do this, we'll update for us. So that's one way we can create a document within Redaction. Let's go ahead and take a look at a document creation using content blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And instead of grabbing a template here, I'm actually just going to choose a blank document. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Content Manager app here, and we can see that we have some content folders here, and some of them have a red padlock. Those are the ones that have been deployed with the solution, right? So we can package up a series of content blocks for all of your users or for a group of users and deploy that out as part of the solution. Now, this red padlock means that the user cannot change these content blocks. So they are truly static and used for ensuring that the standard language is used all the time. Now, users can create their own content or rearrange the content that's been deployed. They just cannot change the solution content. Now, I want to create a letter of engagement here. So I have a whole bunch of clauses, and we have the ability to, if I take a look at maybe this basis of advice clause, I can preview this here, and if I'm sure that that's what I want, I can go ahead and just click insert. We also have the ability to do a full text search. So if I don't know what clause I'm looking for, but I know a word or phrase that might be in it, I can go ahead and type that in here, and it will filter out these clauses based upon that text. So we'll just go ahead and add a few other things. Maybe we want client monies clause. And as long as I make sure that that cursor is right where I want it, all I have to do is actually double click on any one of these clauses or content blocks, if you will, and they're going to populate into the document. So maybe a confidentiality clause, and we'll just finish that with an agreement of terms clause. So now I've quickly and easily created a short document, and I want to save this and collaborate with some other folks. So the first thing I'm doing, of course, is going to save this document. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. And we'll call this the draft. Draft letter of engagement. We'll go ahead and click save there. So now I've got this document, and I want to send this off for review, right? So let's go ahead and pop back out here to Outlook. So I've generated an email here. I'm going to ask a team of folks here to review that for me. So we'll go ahead and attach that draft letter of engagement. Now, when I hit send here, we're going to see a couple of things. First of all, Clean Docs here is going to help us out by ensuring that not only are we cleaning the metadata out of our documents, but that we're sending it who we meant to. Right, so the first thing we see here is our email recipient checking module. This is configurable, and we have three different colors here, so kind of a traffic light system, if you will. When we're taking a look at the recipients of this email, the first thing I'm presented with is that fully qualified email address, so that I know that that's the email address that I'm being sent to, not whatever name decided to pop up for Outlook. So I have three different categories here. Our green category, these are our internal recipients, or recipients maybe on a trusted list, if you will. And then the red category here, this is for our public email providers or email addresses or domains that we add to an untrusted list. And this amber color here in the middle, this is going to be your average everyday outside the organization email. So it's just a last minute sanity check to say, is this really who you're meaning to send it to? I do have a confirm all button here. Once I have confirmed those recipients, it gets out of my way so I can deal with metadata cleaning and attachment handling. So first thing we look at here is for cleaning, we have a policy-based product. So out of the box, we're going to have two policies for you. We're going to have a collaborate and a publish. This collaborate policy is going to allow me to leave this document in its current format. So in a Word document, it's going to stay a Word document, but it's going to clean out the metadata that I want cleaned out. And in this instance, it's going to alert me for track changes and comments. So if it finds those in the document, I'm going to get an alert. We also have a publish policy out of the box. This is going to clean the document of all metadata and then convert that document to a PDF. Now, again, I'm collaborating, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that collaborate policy. Now, there's a couple other things I might want to do to this. Now, I have brought this in from the desktop, but maybe it came from a document management system and it's got doc ID information, or I'm repurposing a document and I just need to change the name. Now, I don't want to have to save that back out to the desktop, rename it, and then put it back into my email and then forget to go delete the other document. I want to be able to just rename that. And I have the ability to do that within Clean Docs by just simply right-clicking and choosing to rename. In this instance, maybe I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this is version 1. This is the very first version of this document. So I'm just going to go ahead and modify that document name, and I'm going to choose Process and Send. Now that document has been cleaned and it's been sent. Now I'm going to assume then that they have reviewed that document and they have sent me back a revised copy. So I want to compare that to my original. So I'm just going to go ahead and select these two documents. I'm going to right click and choose to compare with Compare Docs. Now, Compare Docs is our document comparison tool. We can compare Word to Word, Word to PDF, PDF to Word, PDF to PDF. We can also do Excel and PowerPoint comparisons. So here are my two documents. I'm going to click a little button here to put those in the right order so that my original is on the top, my modified is on the bottom. Dealing with two Word documents, I can output to Word or PDF. Now, this is a live document. I'm collaborating, so I want to go ahead and leave this as a Word document. And I'm actually going to do a track changes report. So this will be a live document. And we'll just use the standard rendering set. Now for comparison outputs, I've got some different options. I can view this as a new document. I can view it in a 3-pane view, which I'll show you in a moment. I can even send this directly to an email or copy it to a clipboard to be pasted into an email. I can save as to the file system, or if I'm linked to a document management system, I can save directly back into the DMS, or I can send it straight to the printer. However, in this instance, I want to go ahead and view that document in a 3-pane view. So what we're going to see here is that comparison's already done. Now Word is open for us, and we have our document here with the comparison report here on the left, and our 3-pane view showing our original document on the top and the modified document on the bottom. Now these panes can be docked here to the right, the left, the top, the bottom, or even popped out into separate windows so that we can have multiple monitors if we want to do side by side by side. The nice thing about these is as I start to click through the document, my 3-pane view is going to follow along. Back to our document, we can see that this document I sent out has come back and it's a mess. There's lots of changes. We've got an inserted clause, we've got things that are moved, deleted, changed, and my formatting and numbering is all over the place. I'm not too worried about the formatting and numbering right now because we're going to fix that in a minute with a product called StyleDocs. But I do want to pay attention to, what are these text changes and am I good with those? So let's just assume I've gone through and I've accepted or rejected everything that I wanted. And in this instance, I'm just going to accept all. Now I've got a document where all of the text lines up. These are the items that I want in this document. But again, it's not formatted correctly. So what we're then going to do is go to a product called StyleDocs. Now StyleDocs allows us to repair documents. We can repair numbering schemes, house styles if you use them, repair and add cross-references, definitions, tables of contents, those sorts of things. And we can do that through the different buttons in the ribbon. Now, I talked about house styles. We can have different types of house styles or even numbering sets if we want to go that route. But this allows us to take and have essentially a format that we want to standardize for our documents. Now we can have different ones if the document just needs to be cleaned up because it was scanned, or we're just doing there's just a small part of the document. We can have different formats for letters and bids and precedents, those sorts of things. But for a standard document like this, I'm just going to choose this document house style. Now, StyleDocs is going to take a copy of this document to work on so that it's not affecting my original document. And so it's taken a copy of this, it's gone through and assessed, and we can actually see here in our draft mode, that all of this text is just in normal mode. There's no actual numbering or headers or footers put in place, and that's what StyleDocs is going to create for us. So I can actually click through here. We can see it's identified all of the different things that it's going to want to do. And I can go ahead and click through and approve, change, or modify what StyleDocs has done here. But I'm pretty happy with what I think it's going to do for me. So I'm just going to hit apply. Now it's going to go through that document. It's going to go ahead and fix that numbering and the headings. And so we come back here, we can see that visually this looks exactly like it should. All the numbering flows. And in fact, when we look inside our draft view, we can see that we now have heading and numbering sets that are set up correctly. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to do a couple other things to finalize this document. So back in StyleDocs again, I have the ability to, I mentioned this before, add a table of contents or a cover page. So a table of contents, if I wanted to insert heading 1 or heading 1 and 2 directly in a page, I can do that, or even an entire table of contents page can be inserted. The other thing I can do is add a cover page. Maybe again, a court has a specific cover page, or you have one design for your precedents. I also have a single button here, or a single click, to insert a cover page and a table of contents. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And what we'll see here is immediately we have our branded and formatted cover page here that, of course, I could fill in my party and document information in there, and a generated table of contents for us. So at this point, I have pretty much finalized this document in the editing process, and now I need to send it to be published. And again, we're going to focus on some security. So before we publish this document or submit this document to the courts, we want to do some last minute checks, some security and redaction. So what I'm going to do now is send this document to PDF Docs. And this is going to convert this document to a PDF for me and open it up in what we call single document mode for in PDF Docs. Now we have single document mode, organizer mode, and binder project mode, which I'll talk about. I'll show you the binder here in a minute. Single document mode is just what you think. We're going to edit a single document. Organizer mode allows us to edit multiple documents at the same time, move them around, and make corrections and changes, and then bundle those into a single PDF document. But here in our single document mode, again, we're talking about the security and protection of our documents. Now, of course, we are a standard PDF editor, so we have all of the tools you would think. Our home ribbon, of course, has all the kind of the most recently used stuff. In the review, we can do stamps and comments and highlighting and underlining, all of the things you would expect from a good PDF editor. Within our protect here, though, we're going to take a look at some redactions. Now, redaction within PDF Docs is a two-stage process. So the first thing we're going to do is mark an area. So in this instance, I just want to mark this paragraph for redaction. And so what it'll do is it's going to mark that. Now you can see there's red boxes around it, but if I hover it, you're going to see that it shows that it's black. So what we're taking a look here is, what is the final result going to look like? Now I can, even with these, use some overlay text or a redaction code. Maybe I wanted to do a Privacy Act D5 on this. So now we can see that our redaction codes are put into place. And again, nothing has been finalized here. I've just marked this up. And this document could be saved, and somebody else can open this if they have PDF Docs and start to remove these markings so that the redaction process can also be collaborative. We can also search for different things for redaction. So single words or phrase. Maybe I just search for the word basis. And as I do this, we can see that it's going to come up with a few different options here. And I could then, check one of these, and I can say mark the checked results. So now that word is marked for redaction. We can also search for patterns. So in this document, we've got, it looks a phone number here, and here we have a social security number, and I need to redact those things. So we have the ability to search directly for a pattern. So in this instance, I want to find that social security number. So of course, I search for the pattern, and that PDF Docs has identified it. And again, I can just check that box and say mark that result. And I'm going to do the same thing with my phone number. So here, if I search, there's that phone number in the document. Again, we're going to mark that. Now that I've marked up all of the things in that document that I want to, I just simply need to apply the redaction. Now I'm going to get a warning because this cannot be undone, right? We're going to strip the text layer out from behind that black box that we're going to put in its place. So it's just warning me that this cannot be undone. There in just a few seconds, we have now redacted that information from our document. And you can see here, there are the redaction codes in that redaction. So this document has been created, collaborated on, and is now finally ready for publishing and court submission. So the next thing we're going to look at, though, is the PDF Docs binder project. So here we have a binder project where we've already created this, right? So we've been working on this, and now we need to add a document to it. So the binder project within PDF Docs gives us the ability to bundle a bunch of documents together and automate the generation of a table of contents and insertion of a cover page. Right, so in this instance, we're assuming that all of the documents are complete and ready for submission, so we're just bundling them together. So we want to add this document here that we've been working on to our project. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to send to project here on the home ribbon and choose our binder here. Now what that's going to do, it's going to bring that document in there. Of course, I didn't save it, so now we're going to rename this. We'll call this letter of engagement. And I'm going to just go ahead and drag that drop right into the first folder there and actually make it the first document of the first section. So now I've added the document that we've created to this binder. The binder also gives us the option of adding some security. Maybe we need a password security for opening and or editing. Watermarks that can be applied. This numbering you can see here is blue because that's selected, which means our numbering is going to be applied. That's our page numbering or any custom headers and footers that we may need on these documents. And our initial view settings are turned on, and this is going to be things like, at what magnification should it open? Do we want a single page continuous? Do we want to have the bookmarks panel open? Those sorts of things can all be set up within that initial view setting. Now we have different types of binders. We have a single PDF binder. We have single PDF binder where we can embed some unconverted files, which is what we're going to do here in a moment. We can also create multiple PDF binders using different types of file namings, as standard, universal, Bates numbering, or even just a cover page binder, which just generates that cover page and table of contents for us and doesn't actually create a bundle of documents. So it's great if we're physically printing binders and need to move things around to just come in here and generate a new table of contents. So I mentioned a moment ago, we're going to create a binder that's going to embed unconverted files. Now here in this particular segment, I have got 2 Excel spreadsheets. I'm actually going to uncheck the box here for converting that to PDF. And this is going to actually embed this Excel spreadsheet in the final binder. And I'll show you that here in a minute. But this embedding of unconverted files is great for multiple things. One, of course, is the spreadsheet here that I want to send through without converting that to PDF. But it's also allows me to attach things like audio files, video files, different types of files that wouldn't necessarily be able to be converted to PDF. And so in this instance, it's an Excel spreadsheet, but there are a lot of options there. Now, here is our binder with our cover page and our generated custom table of contents. If I click here, you can see that takes me. I do have a bookmarks over here. And if we come back to our table of contents, we can see that we have that balance sheet here is not showing a page number, and it's actually within our attachments panel here. So here is the entire Excel spreadsheet. And again, the document that we generated earlier is here. There's our cover page and, of course, the table of contents and our redacted information. So what we've seen here is the creation of a document using VeroDocs, collaboration and security using CompareDocs, CleanDocs, StyleDocs, and then finally converting that into a PDF, redacting some information and applying additional security, and then bundling that into a binder for court submission. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or you want to talk more about this, please reach out to a DocsCorp account rep or email info@DocsCorp.com.